Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be solving the Hanayama Planet puzzle. It is a level 4 out of 6 on the Hanayama difficulty scale, so middle of the road to the top end in terms of difficulty. And it is the newest Hanayama puzzle that there is as of right now, which I've said plenty of times before. In terms of the theme and the shape of it, it looks very similar to one of the more recent Hanayama puzzles, the UFO puzzle, which also was a level 4 on the difficulty scale. Hopefully, it's not quite as difficult as the UFO puzzle, but yeah, there's only one way to find out. As always, we're going to attempt to disassemble the planet puzzle, then we're going to try and reassemble it back into its original position. And once we've done those two things, I will then place it on my own difficulty leaderboard, and we'll see how it compares to the others. Let's get straight into it. Okay, so here is the Hanayama Planet puzzle. And the first thing I'm thinking is, how do we know what the starting position is, because that's what we're going to have to get back to. I'm not 100% sure there is going to be a noticeable point at which we do or are back at the start, which could prove quite challenging. So it's fairly obvious what we've got to do. We've got to separate this sphere thing from the outside shell, I guess. And that is proven by the back of the box. Don't get much other clues. We can tell you that the Masumi Ono was the person who designed this puzzle. But yeah, nothing else coming from the box in terms of hints and clues. But I don't think we need much in terms of hints and clues, because it looks fairly straightforward. We have to find the point at which this planet fits through all these little grooves on the outside. And we probably have to twist around and go from different places. That fits very nicely through there. The actual planet itself seems to be made up of like 3 pieces, but I'm fairly certain that that's just how they are put together. So you can see that bit sort of cut out there, that bit sort of cut out there. But I'm fairly certain there's going to be no movement there. That's literally just most likely how they put it all together. I assume the point at which we actually solve this, it's going to be super tight, or like it'll only just fit through. So a few of these points feel like just give it a little bit of a push through and it'll slip through. These bits are all various different shapes that sort of keep reoccurring. So you've got sort of 4 points there. I'm assuming that we never actually use these 4 points properly. I don't think, like, it feels like these bigger bits and these oddly shaped bits are probably more important in terms of lining those up, but that may be wrong. It's early days yet. That bit there is massive, I've not noticed that yet. So if we think about trying to line that up with the biggest bit there, it doesn't actually rotate through. After playing around with it for a few minutes, it feels like this might be a case of where we just keep moving it around until we find the right position. I'm not sure if I'm smart enough to actually figure this one out in terms of I was right. I'm not smart enough to figure out how it's going to separate, because it just happened. I may have lost it. Anyway, we've separated it relatively quickly. I'm going to try and not lose the orientation I've got it in, so that I've got at least a little bit of a chance to put it back together. Although, as I said at the start, I'm not too sure where that starting position is exactly. So, but we've got it separated in, well, less than 10 minutes, which is pretty good going. Now it's time to put it back together. So before we lose the orientation, I'm pretty sure it was around here. I'm pretty sure this big bit, which I talked about as we were taking it apart, came through there. How exactly? I'm not too sure. Completely lost the orientation, other than keeping a track of where this one is. I think this came through here as we were taking it apart. Other than that, I've pretty much lost the orientation that it was in when I first took it out, which was a mistake because now we're fairly lost. Ooh, there it is. Wow, that falls out much easier than I expected it to. And it wasn't on that bit that I thought it was. There. Now this is a difficult bit in terms of I don't know where the start position is now. So we can twist around loads of different places, and I'm not 100% sure where to stop really. So I guess we'll sort of just mix it up a little bit and then job done. So yeah, I think we're gonna have to leave it there. So the planet puzzle is now solved. We took it apart, we've put it back together. Now we need to place it on the leaderboard. So there it is. We managed to disassemble the planet puzzle and reassemble it. Sort of. I have done a little bit of research on the reassembly since actually reassembling it, and there is actually a specific position that is marked by lines, which I just didn't pick up when I was actually doing it, so we'll have a look at that maybe in the solution video. And I will factor that into placing it on the leaderboard in terms of difficulty, because obviously I've not done the full thing. I should have spent a lot more time, or it would have taken a lot more time to actually put the planet or the ball piece back into its original position. In terms of disassembly, it was quite quickly actually. It was less than 10 minutes. It was never going to be a puzzle that wasn't ever possible to do, if that makes sense. It literally could just spend time on it, get it into every possible position, and eventually, even without figuring it out, like I didn't figure this one out, it just happened to fall apart in a specific place when I got to that place. So where does it rank on the leaderboard? Before we compared it to the UFO puzzle, which sits right at the top in the 4th position in terms of the hardest Hanayamas that we've done so far. It's nowhere near the UFO puzzle in terms of difficulty. Similar level on the Hanayama scale, both level 4s, but in my opinion, nowhere near each other in terms of difficulty. So we're looking much further down than the top row. I think if we look at the valve puzzle, which was also level 4, and I think it's the most recent puzzle that we solved before this one in terms of the main Hanayama collection, we're much easier than the valve puzzle as well. So if we jump down a level, or if we go to the end of the line on this row, you've got the coaster puzzle. I think the coaster puzzle is much harder. Similar in terms of like the number of possible positions that it can be in, but the coaster puzzle I think is more difficult. Below that we've got the ring puzzle and the Mobius puzzle. Now I don't think we are easier than the Mobius puzzle, we are definitely more difficult. The question is, are we easier or harder than the ring? And I think we're gonna go below the ring. So above the Mobius puzzle, below the ring puzzle. And there we go. We've disassembled the planet, we've sort of reassembled the planet, and we've placed it on the leaderboard. Thank you very much for being here. If you want to see me solve more of these Hanayama puzzles or the step-by-step solutions to each and every one of them, then be sure to click my face here to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Peace!